Hi everyone, this is Eagle News. I'm Ken Cruz in Washington. It's the first Saturday of the month, March 4th, 2023, here in the nation's capital. The week's recap begins with President Biden getting votes that could get TikTok banned in the U.S. Myla Simbulan reports.
The U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee votes in favor of a bill that could give President Joe Biden the ability to ban Chinese-owned social media app TikTok. Known as the Deterring America's Technological Adversaries, or DATA Act, the bill was introduced by Committee Chairman Michael McCall. Lawmakers voted 24-16 to approve the measure to grant the administration new powers to ban the ByteDance-owned app, which is used by over 100 million Americans. Before the bill gets to Biden, it still needs to pass in the Senate as well as the rest of the House. A TikTok official says the company was disappointed to see this rushed piece of legislation move forward in Congress. Myla Simbulan, Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
TikTok gets a thumbs down from U.S. federal agencies. Employees with government-issued devices must delete the short-form video hosting service application owned by the Chinese company ByteDance. They're given 30 days. The U.S. joins other countries that are saying no to the said app, including India, Taiwan, Canada, the EU, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. Jeff Sanidad reports.
The White House gave federal agencies 30 days to remove the TikTok app from all government-issued devices. This is in compliance with a ban ordered by the U.S. Congress. The memo went out on Monday. It calls on government agencies to remove and disallow installations of the app on agency-owned or operated IT devices. It also prohibits internet traffic from such devices to the popular social media platform. Chinese tech giant ByteDance owns TikTok. Critics expressed concerns that the app might be used for spying or propaganda. National security concerns over alleged Chinese spying have grown over the past month after a Chinese balloon flew in U.S. airspace. China's foreign ministry says it is strongly opposed to the United States TikTok ban. Jeff Sanidad, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Meanwhile, in Canada, the same goes with the government-issued devices when it comes to TikTok. However, agencies there had to delete the app immediately and not wait 30 days to do so. Yolanda Aspiris tells us more.
Earlier this week, Canada announced that it is banning TikTok from government-issued mobile phones as a way to protect users against threats to privacy. Mona Fortier, president of the Treasury Board, released a statement Monday that starting February 28, the TikTok application will be removed from all government-issued devices, and users will not be allowed to download the said application.
This announcement follows a review conducted by the Chief Information Officer of Canada, which determined that TikTok collects data in a way that opens up access to the rest of the phone's contents. This may pose a threat to government-related information. Last week, commissioners from Quebec, British Columbia, and Alberta launched a joint investigation examining if TikTok is indeed in compliance with Canadian privacy laws and if the application is meeting its transparency obligation.
While Facebook remains the most popular and widely used social media application in Canada, research says that TikTok is coming in as close second, with 26% of Canadians using TikTok and 65% of its users visit the application on a daily basis. Yolanda Aspiras, Toronto, Ontario, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Extraordinary stories from Thomas Likeness today, from alternative housing by the water in Sierra Leone, to a fishing village facing extinction in Honduras, to a stolen mummy discovered in Peru. These stories and more on Correspondent at Large.
And now news and commentary from around the globe. In Sierra Leone, a shortage of affordable housing in the capital of Freetown has prompted some seeking a home to resort to banking. Now, this isn't the kind of banking that normally comes to mind, and it has nothing to do with money. What some residents have done is built homes on the sea. They do this by creating artificial banks. The problem is that this method is called banking. This method is illegal. People pile up tires and sandbags as a foundation and then construct a home on top. But there are risks: flooding, fire, to mention a couple. And of course, there's no infrastructure like roads or basic services. Freetown is struggling to accommodate a growing population. Population there now estimated about 1.5 million. It's sandwiched between mountain slopes and the Atlantic Ocean. A fishing village in Honduras facing extinction and the enemy? Rising sea levels. This is the village of Sedeno, home to about 7,000 people. It looks like it's been hit by an earthquake. Buildings stand in ruins. The culprit, though, not an earthquake, but slowly rising sea levels. The ocean claws away at the land, with violent sea surges claiming more of the coastline. In just 17 years, the sea has advanced 105 meters into the community. Some of the abandoned buildings include the police headquarters, a marine laboratory, numerous homes and small businesses, and a park. Fish numbers have declined too because the habitat has changed. The community is hoping that improved coastal protections can save what is left. Well, Thomas Edison probably wouldn't be welcome here. It's a remote island off the coast of Wales called Ynys Enlli, and it has the darkest sky in Europe. The island has become Europe's first dark sky sanctuary. Now, that's a designation given to only 17 places in the world by the International Dark Sky Association. Places like this have extremely low levels of light pollution, and measures are taken to keep light pollution down. Sensors switch off bulbs during the day. The lighthouse is fitted with red LEDs to keep interference to a minimum. The island is a stargazer's delight that treats them to a celestial showcase of shooting stars, rising planets, and the aurora borealis. There are just 2 permanent residents here. Visitors are limited. The 10 guest cottages are booked for the season. This is just plain weird. Police in Peru have seized a mummified human. It's estimated to be between 600 and 800 years old. They confiscated it from a former food delivery man, and he claims he's had it in his home for 3 decades. 26-year-old Julio Cesar Bermejo is cooling his heels in a jail cell while authorities figure out what to do with him. Bermejo says his father brought the mummy home about 30 years ago, and Julio, well, he's become attached to it. He told local media that he named it Juanita. He keeps the mummy at home most of the time. He calls the remains his spiritual girlfriend. But the Ministry of Culture has a correction there. Experts say the mummy is a Juan, not a Juanita. They figure the mummy was a man about 45 years of age. Now, police caught up with Bermejo while patrolling a park, and there, in an isothermal bag that he'd used to deliver food to people's homes, was Juanita, or Juan, wrapped in bandages in the fetal position. He denies he was trying to sell the mummy, says he was just carrying it around because his friends wanted to see it. The mummy is now in the possession of the Culture Ministry. I'll be back in 7 days, and in the meantime, I wish you all peace, joy, and happiness in the ensuing week. Thomas I. Likeness, Correspondent at Large, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Inflation continues to eat away at people's spending power, and it's forced a lot of us to make changes in how we live. Net25's Melanor Tenhueco took to the streets to take the pulse of the ordinary folks to to get some insight on how they're coping with the raising prices. Take a look.
Filling up this shopping cart is getting more expensive every month, and for many that means things have to be trimmed from the budget. For Megan Guerrera, going out for lunch is one thing she's eliminated.
Before the rising cost, I would go out for lunch maybe 3-4 times a week, but now it's just impossible.
And she says she's a lot more careful about what she puts in her shopping cart, keeping an eye on the price tags. Inflation has also impacted how she spends her free time.
So I've tended to dial that in a bit. I'm not always game for like a spontaneous concert night out because it will set me back like $100.
Dinners out are much rarer now.
You know, I will suggest to my friends, let's just grab a coffee and go for a walk instead of going out to eat.
Alexander de Guzman also says he's less likely to spend money dining out.
Less fast food. And we just got a membership to BJ's, so we're starting to buy in bulk as of last month.
De Guzman made other lifestyle changes as well, including a new ride.
We already invested into electric cars because of the rising cost of gas and maintenance.
And although an electric car is not in Jack Beleza's budget, he is thinking of leaving his gas-thirsty vehicle parked more often.
Makes me want to learn how to ride a bike. I don't know how to ride a bike confidently yet. So trying to drive as little as possible for whatever is absolutely necessary.
And like many others, Beleza is keeping track of where every penny is going.
Each dollar counts, and the paycheck's not getting any higher, so being more wary of what I'm spending and what I'm using.
That sentiment is shared by millions as inflation doesn't appear to be going away anytime soon. Reporting from Rochester, New York, Melanor Tanweco, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Papua New Guinea remembers the life and service of the late Michael Somare. Somare was Papua New Guinea's first prime minister who played a major role in leading the country to independence from Australia. He died in 2021. Eko Hortaleza Canyola tells us more about the celebration. Here's Oceania at a glance.
Papua New Guinea's Grand Chief Michael Thomas Somare's life and service was commemorated at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium. Prime Minister Honorable James Marape and other ministers, leaders, diplomatic corps, and the Somare family remember Somare as the founding father of Papua New Guinea and leader of its independence. They commend Somare as Papua New Guinea's man of peace. Recollecting his contributions and legacy drives the nation to rise and move forward.
I believe it will be the solution and salvation for our country if we continue to rise above our small differences and deliver the dreams of unity. We respect and support each other as fellow human beings of one nation, of one future. Papua New Guinea is in our beloved country. Let's keep his memory alive.
Prime Minister James Marape reiterates Somare's message: respect the rule of law. It is the #1 duty of all Papua New Guineans.
Respecting the rule of law is the #1 call of duty for all of us. That was the law Somare crafted in 1970s leading up to independence. That is the law, the Constitution, and all its enabling legislations and offshoots that has guided us thus far. If you love Somare, and if you love your country, I want to close by asking you, fulfill that love by keeping the laws of this country that Somare drafted up and passed in 1974 and into the law that kept us from 1975, September 16, up till today. May God bless each and every one of you. May God bless our country. And for all of us, may we honor him by respecting the country that he bettered and by respecting the laws of our country that he crafted and passed. Thank you very much.
Eko Hortaleza Canyola, Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Back here in the U.S., the drug Xylazine, meant for use in animals, has been detected in overdose deaths in humans. The country's Food and Drug authorities moved to restrict illegal entry of the drug amid growing public health concerns. Rosal Feria reports on Health is Wealth.
Amid the growing public health concern, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration says it has taken action to restrict the unlawful entry of Xylazine. Xylazine is a drug used in veterinary medicine as a sedative with analgesic and muscle relaxant properties. It is used in many different animal species. It is also used to relieve pain or act as a local anesthetic on animals. The FDA says Xylazine has increasingly been found in illicit drugs. It has been detected in overdose deaths. The FDA says the drug is not safe for use in people. It may cause serious and life-threatening side effects. It has been identified as a contaminant found in combination with opioids such as illicit fentanyl and in combination with other illicit products that contain stimulants such as methamphetamine and cocaine. People who use illicit drugs may not be aware of the presence of Xylazine. While Xylazine is not an opioid, it is dangerous. It can depress breathing, blood pressure, heart rate, and body temperature to critical levels. The FDA also warns that people who inject drugs containing Xylazine can develop severe skin wounds and patches of dead and rotting tissue. This can easily become infected and, if left untreated, may lead to amputation. These wounds can develop in areas of the body away from the injection site and may become life-threatening. Rosal Feria, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In commemoration of World Wildlife Day, the United Nations is urging bold action to protect habitats and end fossil fuel pollution. In New York, Joanne Soriano reports on Down to Earth.
March 3 is World Wildlife Day. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres underscores the responsibility to protect the magnificent diversity of life on the planet. At the same time, he recognizes what he says is people's abject failure. Guterres says human activities lay waste to once thriving forests, jungles, farmland, oceans, rivers, seas, and lakes. The UN chief warns that 1 million species teeter on the brink of extinction due to habitat destruction, fossil fuel pollution, and the worsening climate crisis. He says the war on nature must end. He mentions that people have the tools, the knowledge, and the solutions to end this war. Guterres says this year marks the 50th anniversary of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, which has helped protect thousands of plants and animals. This year's theme is Partnerships for Wildlife Conservation. Guterres stresses the need to work across governments, civil society, and the private sector to turn commitments into action. He says there needs to be much bolder actions now to cut emissions, accelerate renewables, and build climate resilience. The UN chief calls to place the voices of local communities and indigenous people front and center. Guterres says local communities and indigenous people are the world's most effective guardians of biodiversity. Joanne Soriano, Eagle News, New York, New York. We live in extraordinary times.
With NASCAR season barely off the starting line, the Cup Series shifts to California. A win by professional driver Kyle Busch not only secured a consecutive season victories title, but also claimed the final checkered flag on a historic racetrack scheduled for a major overhaul. In Fontana, California, Alan Basayahe on EBC Sports International.
NASCAR returns to the West Coast for its annual race at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. At 200 laps on this 2-mile oval track, it's number 8 Kyle Busch who claims victory at this Cup Series contest.
This race had spin-outs and crashes, but it also had intervals of just uninterrupted racing. During those stretches, Was it like an eerie feeling, thinking that maybe another restart was going to happen, or are you just locked in the zone?
Yeah, I mean, there was a moment there when I ran Ross Chastain down the first time, and I got to his bumper, and I was trying to make a move to get by him, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then my car just flipped a switch and went super loose. So I had about crashed a few times, and I was just hanging on at the end of that stage. And then we were able to make some more adjustments to it to get it better on the long run. And then from there, we battled again with Ross all the way up until we pitted there for the final time. And our guys executed a really good job on pit road and got me out front, and then I was able to drive away. It's maybe not fun for the fans to watch when it gets a little bit spread out, but it's just fun for the drivers to really zone in and get to work and find different grooves and different things that'll work for you, work for your car in order to make the most out of it.
Outside of race results was the topic of reconstructing and reducing the Auto Club Speedway track by 75%.
I'm sad it's not going to be the 2-mile track anymore. I think it could be good at a short track. I hope NASCAR can change their package a little bit.
To make the track shorter, I think it'll be something more interesting to see how it plays out and how the drivers will be accustomed to it.
This 2-mile track's always been one of my favorite tracks to watch on TV, and so it's been really cool to be able to be here for this last one. Best part about watching a race in person is you get to experience the sounds, the roar of the engines, the smell of the tires.
The burn of the tires, the engines roaring 210 miles per hour, hearing them start their engines, going off and speeding up to a higher velocity. But overall, it's something that's really exciting, and it just gives you the chills.
Where we're from, there's not a lot of race fans, so it's cool to see other people who really like NASCAR and see other people who really like our favorite drivers and meet people, and there's just a lot of cool things to see.
Opinions are split about the Auto Club Speedway's future change to a half-mile track, but one thing fans seem to agree on is that this race had plenty of that good old NASCAR action. Alan Basoyahe, Fontana, California. Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
People from across the globe gather in Seattle, Washington to celebrate their love for sneakers. Here's J-Rod Mangona with his report from SneakerCon 2023 on this week's Mind Your Business.
Hello everyone, today we are here at SneakerCon 2023, the largest sneaker event in the world. Over the past few days, thousands of sneakerheads and collectors like myself have gathered here to buy, sell, trade their prized sneakers, and also just to enjoy the community.
Sneaker enthusiasts from all over the world geared up for the highly anticipated SneakerCon 2023. The event, held in downtown Seattle, promised to be bigger and better than ever before. SneakerCon 2023 featured over 100 vendors, including some of the biggest names in the sneaker industry. Attendees had the opportunity to browse through an extensive selection of rare and limited edition sneakers, as well as participate in auctions and raffles for a chance to win exclusive releases. Aside from the exciting shopping opportunities, SneakerCon also featured a variety of interactive activities for attendees to enjoy. The event offered panel discussions and Q&A sessions with prominent figures in the sneaker industry, as well as live performances and sneaker customization workshops. eBay also hosted shoe authentication appointments to make sure your pair of shoes are the real deal. Fans also were expected to see some of their favorite influencers and celebrities in attendance, making it an unforgettable experience for sneakerheads of all ages. With the increasing popularity of sneaker culture and the pent-up demand for in-person events, SneakerCon 2023 in Seattle brought in record-breaking crowds and generated millions of dollars in revenue for the city.
Reporting from Seattle, Washington, J-Rod Mangona for Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
Today we head over to Sabah, Malaysia. Let's find out why Kota, Kinabalu just might be your next Asian destination. Here's Raymond Gutierrez on Adventure Awaits.
Join me as I visit Kota Kinabalu in Sabah, Malaysia.
Sabah, Malaysia is a state of Malaysia located a few kilometers from the southern end of the Philippines. Its capital, Kota Kinabalu, is just a short flight from Manila. Apart from its flora and fauna, Sabah is also famous for its beautiful beaches and bountiful oceans filled with exotic marine life. Recently, we have visited the Borneo Reef, Southeast Asia's largest pontoon or man-made island located in Tunku Abdul Rahman National Park or TARP. This island can be reached by a 15-minute boat ride from Jesselton Port in the mainland Kota Kinabalu.
We launched in the year 2020 and we are proud to say the JSK pontoon is now officially the largest pontoon in Southeast Asia. Okay, measuring at a length of 35.5 meters, the width of 25.5 meters, and we are standing at a height of 12 meters.
Upon arrival, you will be greeted by the cold sea breeze that complements the grandeur of the ocean. Activities await as you step in the pontoon: kayaking, inflatable obstacle course, and helmet diving, to name a few. But if you are afraid of getting wet, there's also an underwater observatory where you can enjoy the fishes without leaving the pontoon. What's more is we have been visited by a long-tailed macaque monkey who swam from the nearby island, adding attraction to the guests. Taking care of this structure is no easy task, especially during stormy weather.
We are supported by 4 main chain anchors. Okay. Fortunately, during the storm itself, the only damage it happened was to the inflatable water park.
Hi everyone! Let's go to KK, Kota Kinabalu!
Another hidden gem of Sabah is the Mantanani Island, in which you will need to travel by van for 2 hours from the mainland to the town of Kota Belud, and then another 45-minute boat ride to reach the island. The entire journey is tiring, but upon reaching the island, the tranquil beauty will refresh your senses. First activity is snorkeling from 2 of the island's diving spots. Second is the island hopping, where you will see its natural cave formations. And lastly, a visit to the sand dunes called the Dragon's Tail, as the sand moves like a tail due to the winds. The natural beauty of these places will not last if we don't take care of it. Even a small action can cause a big outcome.
We do not encourage guests to feed the sea creatures, and of course definitely no physical content. We're sending a message that just like us humans, we always allow a certain angle so that marine life can flourish in their natural habitat.
They cannot step on the corals, or maybe taking out all the sea marines, everything, whatever it is inside the water, they cannot bring it up. They only can see.
Reporting from Sabah, Malaysia, this is Raymond Gutierrez reminding you to stay alert because we live in extraordinary times.
Jom jalan-jalan di Kota Kinabalu.
And now it's time for food, my favorite segment of the day. Today, our very own Aika Era shows us on how to make salmon onigiri. Put on your aprons and let's head over to the kitchen for this week's Behind the Counter.
Hey, I'm Aika, and welcome back to Behind the Counter, where we see easy and tasty meals be brought to life. We have a nice and easy dish that you can't help but share. This week we're making simple tuna onigiri. Check back here for full recipes, and if there's a dish that you'd like to see, let us know in the comments below. Catch us on EagleNewsLive.com, on our Eagle News YouTube channel, and our Facebook page. Check back next time when we go behind the counter.
As we do always, before we let you go, here's our photo of the week. This photo of Davenport Pier is taken by Ika Era. Yes, aside from her cooking skills, she does take great photos. Can't wait for spring. And thank you all for joining us again. If there are stories or topics that you want us to share with you, just comment below. View, like, share our other shows. City Limits with Alan Basalyahe. Connected with Dr. David. Take a seat and join us with Anna Kui. Plate Date with Mike Hudson and Friends. Plus, Journey, Stories of Filipinos Abroad with Kathleen, best last name ever, Cruz. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Eagle News Live. I'm Ken Cruz. We live in extraordinary times. Happy weekend, everyone.